Tippett Senior. He's a gangland boxing legend. He's here today with us, and he's also an underworld associate. He's very well known in the criminal and gangland fraternity. He's also the author of the book Gangster. It's Jimmy Tippett Junior.
Nice to meet you, boy.
And you, mate. Thanks for coming.
That's all right.
Absolute pleasure to have you on, and I've been trying to get you for quite a few months.
I know. Do you know what it is? Obviously I'm selling my mum's house. My mum passed away last year.
I heard, and condolences from everyone with Bullet as well.
I was grieving, and I was going a bit wild and a bit trying to sort of get my head together. But obviously I moved away, got myself sorted up north, and enjoying life. All settled now and cracking on.
So how's life treating you?
Very good, yeah. Working, enjoying that in a straight pound note, and no, we had some good people, got some very good friends up here. My daughter lives up here.
Lovely.
And it's nice. I'm back in the gym training and that. So,
excellent. Yeah, you're looking well.
I'm doing my dad's book, The Real Deal. So
that's coming out soon, isn't it? When are we looking forward to that?
I'm writing that with a best-selling crime writer called Julie Shaw, who's written like 20 #1 bestsellers.
Well, don't forget,
hoping to get that out in March. Yeah,
we'll have that out for you as well. We'll advertise that for you. So as soon as you've got that up and done and ready, let us know, and we'll get that out for you. But we're going to jump straight in and tell us a little bit about your dad.
My dad, well, my dad, everyone knows my dad. My dad, he was like a folk, like a legend, really. He is a legend. Yeah. He was best dad in the world. He was like, to me, he was like Superman. Yeah. He was like, he had a presence around him. He was, he reminded me a lot of John Gotti.
Really?
Yeah, he held himself a certain way. He was always immaculately dressed, and he had tons of charisma. If he walked in a room, everyone knew he was in there. And they all stood up to greet him. It was like being out of a movie star when I was with my dad. Whenever I was off school or it was a Saturday morning, I'd want to be straight away with my dad, because it was like I felt like everyone was looking at him and I wanted to be just like him. It's like Paul Stockton spoke about him on one of your podcasts.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And my dad was like mesmerising. It was like he had something about him.
And it was to do with the unlicensed boxing as well, wasn't he?
No, he was a professional boxer, my dad. And then he got involved in the unlicensed fighting with his partner Eddie Richardson.
That's right. Yeah, he did get involved.
They had their own boxing shows at the Downham Tavern in the 1980s. Yeah.
Downham Tavern?
Yeah, Downham Tavern.
Oh my God, I remember going to
the raves.
Yeah, the raves, weren't they? Brilliant. They were the
Jacko
best
used to put on the raves.
Yeah, Jacko, Tony Wilson, the DJ. Oh my God. Yeah, them were the days, weren't they? I can remember them. They were brilliant days. But let's go sort of dive straight into where did you grow up, Jimmy?
I was born in Lewisham, and I grew up on the Ferrier estate.
On the Ferrier estate?
Yeah.
The concrete jungle?
Yeah, and so we lived next door to Jim Davidson, the comedian.
Really?
But then obviously in the late 70s, my mum, she didn't want to live there. She said to me, she was a lot younger than me dad, and she said, look love, I don't want to live on a council estate, blah, blah, blah. So they ended up getting a nightclub in Bromley, the old Beavers.
Oh, yeah.
Which was called, at the time, it was called Talk of the County. Blimey. So my mum and dad bought that nightclub in Bromley, in Woodmore Road, and then they bought a house, their first house in Hayes, 42 Marden Avenue.
So I met the guy that owns that now, Robinson.
Mickey Chapman.
Mickey Chapman, yeah. It's his son. He's running it. One of his sons is running it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So where was you sort of growing up? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Hayes, Kent, but obviously at the weekends I'd go down. My dad had a spieler, which is like an illegal gambling club where they play kaluki, poker.
Yeah.
So I used to go spend my weekends down there.
Wasn't that good? I'd done that with we used to call him Pop, but it was my granddad. He used to have because we was all from the we used to hang around a lot down the East Lane.
Yeah.
Near Wharf Road.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And he had the illegal betting office in Manor Place. Now, we used to go there when we was
My dad used to box at Manor Place Baths.
Well, yeah, that's it. I remember it. But we used to go down there and as we was little kids, there used to be thieves in them days. They used to nick everything, didn't they? It was like going into Aladdin's cave when we used to go to his shop. And all the boys were sitting near the green felt table and that horse racing in the background. He used to take bets for the horse racing.
That's what my dad had a geezer called Donuts from Peckham. He was marking up and Tony Bell on the chalking up on the board.
Yeah.
And then they had all like the Frenchies, the Smiths from Deptford. They'd all be playing kaluki. They'd sit there and there was Ronnie Easterbrook. He was someone who played a big part of my life, Ronnie. He was the one who had to shoot out with the police. Do you remember in 1987 in B-Jams?
Yeah,
in Woolwich. And he got shot by the police, and he was shooting at him. Tony Ash got shot dead.
Yeah, Jesus.
But I grew up with Ronnie because he was always at the spieler.
Yeah,
so all my mates were going out washing cars for like all day long for a £5, and I'd be up the spill on a Saturday just doing a few teas and sandwiches.
Yeah.
And Ronnie would go, or one of the Smiths, they go, there's a score there, Jim.
That's it.
And like a score in like the 80s was like, it's like
I've seen that at Goodfellas,
like,
isn't it?
Yeah,
Where he puts that money in his
because they all
pocket.
had their cashmere jumpers on, all had their little pinky rings on, all their nice Cartier watches. And it was just, I think that was my sort of, I don't know, I felt like Henry out of Goodfellas. He was like being around all these villains.
I did,
and then you'd see him walk up the snooker, and then we'd fucking about, and obviously my dad would walk in and he'd like, everyone would go quiet. My dad was like poorly, you know, like, my dad would walk in and everyone would go quiet. But it was greatest years for me with the 80s growing up.
I mean, born 1970 I was. I think you're about the same
71.
age as me. You're 50 or 71, so you're about the same age as me. I was in that area, and you sound like you had a very much same life as what I did.
Really, I had a great, and my mum and dad, my mum, she tried to deter me from going up the spill. She didn't like me going up there and being around those sort of people. But I thought because of my dad and who his friends were, I'd mix with their children.
Yeah.
And then obviously we weren't like, if my dad was a bricklayer, I'd mix around with other builders' sons, because my dad was what he was. It was all his friends were big, like bosses and crime bosses, so I'd mix with their children.
Of course, you can't get out of it.
So my mum and dad's friends were the great train robbers and like the Brinksmat robbers and Charlie Richardson, Eddie Richardson. So we'd hang around with their families.
Yeah. Well, they say, don't they? If it's in your blood, it's in your blood.
Of course it is. Yeah.
I know. I sort of grew up with that same sort of thing. But what was it like having a father figure like your dad, who was well known and popular in the underworld?
To be honest, it probably turned me into my little fucker really, because I could do what I wanted. But and then like friends of ours, it's Paul Stockton and Johnny Lister, like the little problem. But they used to always look at. I was always up to no good, and they was always like getting me out of trouble when I was a kid and that. So I always had it. I could do. It was like I was given the keys to the city. I could do what I wanted. And like with no sort of, it really turned me a little bit naughty, really, because it gave you like sort of a license to steal.
It did give you sort of half a license. And you did learn from that,
looking back now,
Yeah.
some of the things I've done, I'm appalled of. It's, ever since I've lost my mum was a very hard-working lady. And when she died, she really looked after me, and she said an awful lot of stuff to me. And I've wasted a lot of years down to cocaine and badness in my life, and silly prison sentences, being around the wrong people and being used, like obviously because of my name and what it can do for me. But no, now I want a totally different life. I don't love the nice life. I still go out. I've got a beautiful girlfriend, and we have some lovely nights out in London. We travel the world, but I'm finding life quieter now.
You got to step away from it, and sometimes.
Of course, you have. I don't mix with criminals anymore. I just paid a big poker fine off, which is Proceeds of Crime Act. That's been hanging over me for 10 years. I've just paid that.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, what sort of age was you when you sort of realised your naughty sort of age started?
As soon as I was out of nappies, really. As soon as I was out of nappies, I was always a naughty kid.
And around about sort of what age did you start your sort of your naughty stuff?
I think I was at school. It was like, I remember that, like someone up the spill. They went, I see what you can do with that. They bugged me like a soap bar, like the old cannabis resin.
Yeah.
And he went, sling it in the microwave for about a minute. He said, cut it into little chunks. He said, you'll be able to do them at 10 as a chunk at school. And he gave it to me for free. And I thought, and all the kids were going wild for it. And I thought, fucking hell, it's like, I've been up the spill and I've earned a bottle, like, just for like a tour.
Just being you.
And I'm 12 years old. And then obviously all the stolen gear would come up there, or they'd give me the moody watches, and I'd just be like knocking it all out. It was like brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah, I know. It does. It's in you. It is quite an euphoric moment, isn't it? I mean,
and obviously then you start getting into designer clothes, going out with girls, and obviously I started boxing, but boxing weren't really for me at first.
It weren't, no?
It weren't. I had a talent for it. Obviously it was in my blood. My grandfather was a bare knuckle fighter, and his father was a bare knuckle fighter. I was a good little fighter, but I never liked the idea of being a super featherweight. Yeah. As I said to you, it was. I used to watch Mike Tyson, who was my idol. I thought, I want to be just like him. And my dad said, son, you're a featherweight. You're a super featherweight. I went, Dad, no. He went, son, listen. And I hated the word because I thought it looked muggy.
Yeah,
but the thing is, looking back now, if I'd have stayed at super featherweight, I'd have knocked anyone out. But
you can't eat.
So I used to put weight on to try and get as close as I could to welterweight, which was silly. But it was silly because I couldn't win. But I'll try my best. I'll give it all I had. But I fell into drugs at an early age, so.
Yeah, I think we all did as it happens. It was
the ease and the raving and the coke. Yeah,
that started in the.
I sort of did it about 89, 90.
Yeah, I mean that was the prime time. I think I was sort of 87.
I lost my 90s. I put the 90s. If I could delete any part of my life, it would be the 90s.
Delete it, really? Is that your regret?
Really bad, really bad. I went through a lot of times with my mum and dad not talking to me for periods of time. Yeah. I was like living from sofa to sofa. It wasn't a good time for me. I really hit my all-time bottom low. Really? I ended up doing all my first prison sentences, getting round a load of gangsters who were no good. They was using me because of who my dad was. They'd had me round them because they ain't got to pay. They're getting the name of my dad like protection, for nothing. Yeah. So and I was severely used, and I'm a bit bitter and twisted over that. But obviously you live and learn, and you see that these people there's no honour amongst thieves.
No, none at all.
All this, listen, they're all grass as soon as look at you. Listen, the drug dealers all grassing that person to get to. There's no law.
No, not anymore.
As soon as someone's wife goes to prison, they're the first ones round. They try and look after her in other ways.
Yeah, that's the way it's going this day and age. I know. But when did you actually think that you was different, or when did you feel that you was a little bit different from others?
Fuck, as soon as I was at school, really, I was being told off. I know because my mum and dad was always they spoiled me rotten.
Right,
they give me.
We did get a lot.
If I wanted a mini motorbike, I got it. If I wanted,
no one else did.
No, I didn't. No, and I was like, and all the kids around the house, and then we had horses, and then my mum and dad went from a 3-bedroom semi-detached house. This was around the Brinksmat robbery time.
Yeah.
And both my parents are dead now, so I'm not implicating them in any way. But after around the Brinksmat time, we moved into a big 5-bedroom detached, Tudor-style house in Keston.
Oh, right.
Which was like the Beverly Hills of Kent.
Of course it was.
If you lived in Keston, you was like.
That's it. You made it.
You'd made it. It was the millionaire's playground. Yeah. But no, we moved up to there, and my mum and dad. Life went a lot better then.
Yeah, it sounds like it as well. I mean, what sort of inspired you at this age? What was the inspiration?
As a kid, I was never revised for. I used to treat school like a party. I'd go there to have fun, knock out all my little bits and pieces, and follow a few of the girls I liked around, and just see me friends and have a laugh. I didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
I remember the careers officer, she went, "What do you want to do?" I want to be like my dad. And she went, "What does your dad do?" I went, "Well, he gets up about 11 o'clock in the morning, he puts his suit on,
that's it.
Goes to the snooker hall, has a game of snooker, goes for breakfast or lunch with his friends, goes to the pub, comes home, has a sleep, and then goes out to his nightclub." She went, "I'm afraid, Mr. Tippett, real life isn't like that." I said, "Well, it is. I watch my dad do it every fucking day." She went, and straight away it was like, that was my thing with your elders who were trying to sort of put you on the right road, and I just thought, no, this ain't for me. Yeah. She wanted to give me a job in a bank. I was thinking how to get the money out of the bank without working. It was.
It's in you. It's just that your mind sort of.
I was born naughty, and I died naughty. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you have to step out of that zone every now and then.
Oh, listen, it's lovely to be. It's lovely to be the way I am now and look back. I mean, my mum's death really had a big impact on my life.
Yeah.
I nursed her for a year with cancer. And I saw a lot of people come out of woodwork and scrounge, because my mum had a lot of money, and they scrounged around her, and she wasn't too there at the end of it, and I feel that a few people who were close to her took liberties with her.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, and I feel, and my dad would be turning in his grave if he could see it.
Yeah, I know, I can well imagine.
But the thing is, I got well looked after, but it's, and I've had a few ups and downs, but you live and learn. I mean, I've done wrong in life. It's.
What sort of criminality did you start off with?
I worked for a gang in South London. Funny enough, just like driving about. I'd drop a little bit of work off here and there, and I'd get paid on each bit of work which was dropped off. And then it started moving. There was a little firm of armed robbers. They would do their bit of work and then ask me to move one of the cars. And it went from doing that to going on a bit of work and having a cash box, and I found it really exciting. And
the thrill of it.
The thrill. Yeah. And I was lucky. I got nicked on a few, and I think I was very lucky because it put the wind up me a little bit. Because I saw a few pals get 15s.
Really?
And there was like a family friend of ours called Perry Taroni. He was always in and out for armed robberies in South London. Yeah. Very prolific armed robber. And obviously with the Brinksmat boys all getting big sentences, Brian Robinson, close friend of my dad's. Yeah. And obviously Ronnie Easterbrook getting shot on a bit of work and then getting a life sentence.
Yeah, I knew Brian, yeah.
And and all them getting big sentences, that sort of put me off. And then I was sort of, then we went up sort of, then it was just, we was going and thieving, and we'd go out for the day really. You'd go out and try and nick a monkey or a grand to live for the day. But our days were like, our weekends were 7-day weekends.
That's what I mean, mine was 4.
We used to party every day of the week, and in the end it was literally, we'd go out, get your money, party all night long, get up in the morning, and it was like a continuous cycle of drugs, violence and fucking...
Thieving.
Thieving. It was like...
Of course it was, mate. Yeah, I was with you all the way there.
But obviously I was like knocking about in Lucia, which was my dad's manor, so you had the snooker hall, we had the Sultan pub, and then you go down Deptford, you had your spielers down Deptford, or we'd go down Greenwich or up Blackheath for the wine bars on a Monday.
You used to go to a club in Deptford, the one Harry Hayward's one.
Flash Harry, that was my dad's best mate.
Champs,
wasn't it? Champs, and it changed, it was Cheeks, and then...
Cheeks, that's it.
Cheeks, and someone got stabbed to death outside, then it became Champs, and then it was SE8s.
Right, so that changed again.
And then Dave Courtney took it over, and it became Future. Well, he didn't take it over. My dad got Dave. Harry had a reconstruction order on it, so my dad got in touch with Dave and said, "Oh, Dave, do you fancy running this?" Then Dave started running it as Futures.
Gotcha, yeah. I remember them days there again. They're the ones.
Yeah, so good. They were like really, really good nights.
Yeah, you want to wipe them out, but I just really love to relive them because they were some excellent times.
I think they'd wipe me out that one there. Yeah, cool.
Where do you think your activities have got you today?
Today, fucking
wiser, smarter.
Do you know something? Ready for the grave, I suppose. No. Do you know what it is? Looking back, I think it's while I've been writing my dad's book, which is, I think that's been really inspirational for me.
Yeah.
Because my dad had such an incredible life. Writing my dad's book has been really inspirational because he is a legendary character. He was the nicest man. A friend of mine I was talking to, I'm very close to, he's very big in the underworld. A friend of mine called Paul from Essex. He sort of looks after me now and sort of has my back, and he's around some very powerful people. Yeah. And he sort of just said, "Jim, I've never heard a bad word said about your dad," and even to this day, his legacy carries on.
Yeah.
And that's very strong for considering he died 6 years ago.
Yeah, of course.
But my dad was a gentleman. My dad always said to me, he said, "Son, forget the gangsters, they're no good." He said, "Listen," he said, "the Cray twins," he said, "listen, everybody," he said, "all these people want to put themselves out of Cray." He said, "There's no value around them, son." He said, "Listen," he said, "they're all friends of mine." He said, "I've grown up from the age of 12. He said, "But son, there's no value." I said, "What do you mean?" He went, "Son," he said, "you've got 2 conkers at school, you're playing conkers." He said, "It's like putting a wing mirror on a conker." I went, "What do you mean, son?" He said, well, "What's the point of having a wing mirror on a conker? There's no value. It's absolutely useless." He said, "That's with them, son." He said, "Son," he said, "they are what they are." He said, "Look, they went to prison at 36. They gained their own notoriety for, like," he said, that Reggie was his favourite because he was a bit of a talker, could have around. He said Ronnie, he was a bit twisted and a bit like messed up with the medication and that.
Yeah, yeah.
Charlie was just like a con man who was just out to try and grab a monkey. My dad would say all he ever wanted was a monkey. He wanted a monkey in his pocket for a night's drinking. That was all Charlie ever wanted. Yeah. But my dad was obviously close with Charlie and Eddie, and obviously Harry Hayward. My dad was, because he was born in Greenwich. My dad.
Right.
So he was a South East London boy, but his mum was born in Hoxton in East London. Okay. So we had
two connections.
So yeah, but with my dad being a famous boxer, he would go east, west, north, south. He could go anywhere he wanted. And my dad's friends were very powerful people like Georgie Walker, who was a famous British heavyweight fighter who looked after the old gangster Billy Hill. But George went on to build a Brent Walker, which was a billion pound company. Yep. And then lost it all, then went off to Russia, and very, very powerful man, George, and his daughter ended up married into royalty.
Really?
Yeah, so he was like one of my dad's closest friends, and then there was Ronnie Olive from South London, very powerful, big gang boss. Yeah. He never spent a day in jail, same as my dad. And then my dad was very close with Georgie Porritt. I love the Porritts, he had a big mansion up in Rushmore Hill.
Yeah, oh no, Rushmore Hill, yeah.
They were sort of like...
Kenny Noy was up there, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, and Scouse Norman, my dad's friend, Scouse Norman Johnson, he was a big player in Liverpool. He had an affair with the Princess of Oman. Really? Oh, and then he also used to work with the mafia in New York. He worked with Russell Buffalino, who the film The Irishman was based over.
Really?
Who Joe Pesci played Russell Buffalino. Wow. But Norman was working with Russell Buffalino in the 70s and 80s, yeah. Yeah. And he wrote a great book called Black Eyes and Blue Blood, but he was one of my dad's closest friends. And there was like a group of them, and they were like the Untouchables. They were like, they'd all got to the... and it was all ex-boxers as well. That was a funny thing. Yeah. But growing up as a kid, like we'd have Ray Winston come to the house, and my dad's best friend.
I filmed with Ray.
Yeah, Ray's lovely.
He's wicked, yeah.
But my dad's best friend was Paul Moriarty, who played actually Harry in Lock, Stock.
Oh yeah.
To the end of my dad died at Sunrise. No, not at Sunrise. He died at Bickley, the nursing home in Bickley.
Right. Okay.
And what happened was Paul used to visit him every single week. Dave Courtney visited him a few times.
Yeah.
We had a lot of famous visitors up there. But yeah, Paul Moriarty visited him every week. And he's on his last birthday card. He put, "To Jim, my hero. Thanks for the last 60 years." And that was a beautiful, lovely.
He played the blinder in that film, though.
Yeah, and Longer Friday played Razors, didn't he?
Yeah. He was wicked. They're just playing that actor in.
He's great. And then, imagine as a kid coming home and I've got you got Paul Moriarty. I mean, it was my 18th birthday party.
Yeah.
And we had Donald Sutherland, the Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
Bernie Eccleston, Formula One motor racing boss.
Yeah.
Georgie Walker, Justin de Villeneuve, who was the one who made Twiggy famous.
Yeah.
We had Bob Geldof. It was like. And then my dad had just done a film called Number One.
Gangster Number One?
No, it was called Number One, and it was based on a snooker player called. But Bob Geldof was a snooker player called Flash Harry, and it was based in and around Lewisham and Deptford. But it was all. But my dad had a big part in it as well.
Did he?
Yeah, there was Sergeant Cryer out of the bill. Yeah, so we all went to the premiere, and I remember my mum got the hump because Paula Yates was in it, and she had all like airy armpits, and she stunk of the own.
She did.
I mean, she's not one of those earth things, isn't she? And my mum went, "For fuck's sake, can we get out of this fucking lift?" It's like, and my mum never swore. She was just like, but my mum could be a little bit like, she was the one who wore the trousers with her and my dad.
Really?
My dad was, he never cheated on my mum. He was a proper gentleman.
Yeah.
But if they went out and then anyone, my dad would only have to look at you. He had that much power and presence.
Yeah.
It was very hard, really, for me to transition over from a boy to a man because of the dad I had.
Really?
If I had a dad who was a builder, I'd have been a builder's son.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Having a dad who I had, I mean, I could have been, if I would have gotten the drugs, I would have probably been, who knows, you don't know. But obviously, having the dad I had, it opened a lot of doors, but it also closed a lot of doors.
Yeah, it can do work both ways, can't it?
Because a lot of people were frightened to have me around them because of me. They wouldn't want to, in case anything happened, they got answer to him. Yeah, they're dead. Yeah,
or be offensive.
And I saw me dad sometimes when it was in the spill. There was a big shootout one day between a family from Deptford and someone who just took a liberty. And my dad got hold of the geezer coming in the spill with a big knife. And that's the first time I'd ever seen my dad go to work. And he went, this geezer, his name was, I can say his name, can't I? Yeah.
I wouldn't.
No. Well, he was like, I'll tell you, I can say his nickname. He was called The Plum. He went into Harry Hayward's club once, Flash Harry's, stabbed one of the doormen right up. Harry's pulled a gun out, come out and shot him. As he was running up the club, shot him. Harry shot him. Yeah, shot him in the arse. But the geezer was a lunatic. He stabbed up one of the geezers on the market stall with a big samurai sword on the absolute psychopath. But he came in with Dad's spill one day to have a go with my dad. I remember my dad just took the knife off him, hit him with the right hand. I've never seen. It was like this geezer's head. It was like something out of a cartoon. It was like his face went all like distorted. It was like he had 7 strokes in one, and he just hit the floor. My dad got the knife and rammed it straight in his shoulder. And I was like, fuck it. And then someone went, don't let young Jim see that, don't let young Jim see that. Yeah. I was rushed off, they grabbed him round, pulled him up, then my dad comes, and I was pulled out the back, got my dad had a Rolls Royce at the time, Silver Shadow. We got my dad's Rolls Royce and we just drove up, my dad went, oh son, he was only messing about, but I knew it weren't messing about. Because it was quick, clever how the boys have got me, run me to the back of the kitchen, and then it was some bird who was helping me do the teas. She went, no, you got to go down here, And then the next thing you know, Dad was in the car, we shot off.
Yeah, you get to see it all, didn't you? And they try and cover you up.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, obviously you come from the same area as me, Roy, so obviously you know my dad's sort of like status. Yeah. But he was a gentleman. He would never take a liberty with anybody.
Yeah, no, that's it. They were good. They had their morals. They did in them days.
And my dad, with me, I lost getting into cocaine was like, I would say it's a devil's stuff. I lost all sense of morality, all sense of respect. Yeah. I would have robbed off my own mum. That's the truth. That's how bad the coke got me bad. I've had little goes here and then. It doesn't do the same thing for me now. I think it's totally different.
No, it's totally different now.
Yeah, it's like synthetic. Yeah, years ago, I used to look forward to it.
You used to chat rubbish and sit here for hours.
Fucking hell, the kitchens, fucking hell. It'd be like, I'm the last one out, 8:30 in the morning, like the birds tweeting, everyone's going to
school. It was a good feeling, wasn't it? That was the best feeling in the world. You look forward to it. But
it's not that. It's now, there's so much violence with it. It's a different world now. I was very lucky to grow up in the 80s. I mean, obviously, I was very gifted. I mean, my dad put me in the film business. I was in the Batman movie with Jack Nicholson at 17.
Was you really?
I was a stunt artist under Eddie Stacey. He was a stunt coordinator on the film.
Really? Blimey.
So I played a little stunt artist on there. So I was getting 120 quid a night from 6 at night till 6 in the morning. Then I would get, every time I'd done a special action, which
More
is like
money.
a stunt, I'd get 25 quid, like pony, 25 quid.
Yeah.
And obviously I'd fuck it up on purpose, because I think every time you do a take, so you might do 17 takes.
You do a week, wouldn't you?
That's a pony a take. So I thought, fucking hell, some nights I was taking 500-600 quid a night.
Yeah.
And I remember buying my first beer, I bought a BMW 316, brand spanking new, when I was 17.
Yeah.
But then I thought, why do I want to go to, all my mates were going to work for like silly money, hundreds of quid a month, and I was earning that a night.
Yeah, nice.
So, but with the film game, you'd phone up Central Casting and go, I'd say, because my dad was Jimmy, you could have two Jimmys, so I would go, I'd be my middle name, I'd go Gary Tippett every day at 4 o'clock. They'd go, oh yeah, we've got some work for you, Jimmy. It's a Paradise Club. Tomorrow you've got to be at Blackheath, blah blah blah, and you go on that call, you get your chit and you sign it in, and you get paid out cash at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's cash as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was all cash, but I'd done Press Gang, I'd done Kiss Before Dying, the Jerry Lou Lewis story, we'd done a Hammersmith Palais, and we just sitting around all day long watching Dennis Quaid perform.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that film game, and then a lot of my friends like Tony Denham, who's now a big star.
I filmed with Tony.
Tony, funny story with me and Tony, we was on the Batman movie, and we was getting paid out at the end of the film, and it was 6 in the morning, and my dad was a security on the film, and he was looking after Jack Nicholson, so when they was paid out, they had thousands to pay out, so they had my dad there when all the money was paid out. And then the stunt guy who played, done all the stunts for Michael Keaton in the Batman outfit was a guy called Dave Lee, a martial arts expert. I think he just recently died.
He died, like me,
yeah. And he was in the queue, and he went to my dad's pal, the Olds, the Johnny and Davey Olds, the twins. He's Davey Old's son, Dave. He went, excuse me, mate, can I use your back? He took, to take the piss to sign his name on his chit, and he pushed in, and Dave went, here mate, I don't mind you using me fucking back as a fucking rest. He said, but you're not pushing in, mate, we're all fucking extras, we're queuing up the same as you. I went, no mate, I'm the stunt guy. He went, do you know who I am? And I remember Dave getting crashed, knocking him spark out with one right hand. Tony Denham was next to him, but it was funny because we was like, and then I saw Tony obviously rise through the ranks, the same as Tamer's done really well.
Tamer Hassan, yeah.
I've known Tamer 30 years.
Oh, it's quite funny because I filmed with quite a few people because it was all into
But they all live in the same area as us. Where we lived, you've got all that, I mean, you've got Jamie Foreman, and obviously Fred was a good close friend of my dad's, and obviously I knew Greg. Greg had the pub in Farmer Village, and then he had the one near Widmore, Bromley.
You went more green?
No, what's the one, there was a piece, I think you still got it, Ali, with Lisa.
Is it the Working Men's Club?
Yeah, no, that's Jacko's, then you've got, you got the Tilney Road.
Oh, Tilney Road.
Yeah, I'll tell you where it is. It's near the White Horse. Near the White Horse, it's up the end of there, the pub.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about now, yeah. So, I mean, after all of that been going on, what was the biggest job that you've actually done?
I got accused of a robbery, which is, it sounds like saying out of fucking Ocean's 11 or something silly like that, but no, a friend of mine was licked on a robbery in 1991. It was what they said, it was the world's biggest ever robbery. It was the bearer bond robbery in the city, where 292 million pounds worth of bearer bonds were stolen off a city broker who was carrying them.
Okay.
But my friend Pat Thomas was the so-called mugger at the time, but he was accused of taking the bonds. So later that day, when he'd done the bit of work, we was all at a place called Charlie's Wine Bar in Lewisham, Lewisham High Street, which was one of my dad's friends' bars. Every villain and hound used to go there. It was like saying out Goodfellas, and it was, the police were watching. You could see the cameras over the road, 24 hours a day. It was full of Rolls Royces and Jags, and every face in London, all the Brinksback boys, anyone who was anyone was in there. And the policeman even made a remark later on in a book, a guy called Peter Bleaksley, said, say, if the roof would have gone in the night in that place, it would have wiped out 90% of South London's underworld.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I know Peter.
But no, so Pat did do the robbery, and then Pat ended up getting shot dead on his door. I'd been out of him that day. He got frisked for a gun at the Ministry of Sound by the boys, refused to go in there, and he got found shot dead on his doorstep in Brockley in the early hours of the morning. But it's a shame, and a lot of the sort of crowd, and then I used to work with a guy called Eugene Carter. Do you remember Eugene? He was a big time drug baron. Basically what it was a lot of boys in South London who were using Brinksback money to put into the other game, and obviously there was a lot of money around South London, and Eugene Cartier they used to call him, because he'd have like £100 Cartier watch on.
Eugene Cartier?
Cartier, yeah, his name was Eugene Cartier. His uncle was Johnny Carter, who used to cut Frankie Faze. Him and Frankie Faze had an ongoing knife war for years.
Right, okay.
But everyone said bad things about John, but listen, people say bad things about everyone. People say bad things. Listen, then people say bad things about me.
Look at social media.
Social media. Look, if they're bothered to write a fucking comment like that, I could personally be bothered.
Yeah, you couldn't even whisper this sort of stuff years ago. Do you know?
No, you've got full carte blanche. Yeah, but I watch a lot of people's podcasts. I like Kevin Lane. I like Ray Bishop.
Yeah, we've done both of them. Yeah.
And I like Terry Ellis. A lot of these people, they're the real deal. Very, very strong, hard men, and they've got a story to tell. And it's how life has treated somebody.
Yeah.
And you only get out what you put in now.
Well, it's unfortunate that you're born into that sort of stuff, and as I said before, it's in your blood, and you could be a bricklayer or a carpenter or whatever.
To be honest, I don't think, even if I had the dad I had, I think I'd still be a little fucker.
I think we'd have still got our upbringing that we did.
Listen, I always wanted to be better than everybody else. I loved the nice bit of designer clothes. I always loved the kettle. Yeah. And always wanted to stand out for the crowd.
Yeah,
and I suppose being naughty was the only way what was going to make me stand out.
You always see the boys with the Farrah and the Gabichis and the...
As a kid, I always had the Gabichis with the suede pocket and a little gold,
Yeah, the Lacoste come out, didn't you see? He's got loads of money in, that must be cake.
Bit of Pierre Cardi, wasn't it? Yeah, fucking hell.
Oh my God, we got that memory lane here. But when you've done these jobs and, doing a couple of big jobs, there's a few stories flying about. Did you sort of invest the money wisely or...
No, I went out and bought I think the first job we ever done, I was only young, I was about 19. I had about 45 grand. And I went out and bought a Mercedes Cosworth, 190 Cosworth.
Yeah, I remember that.
A little gold midi Rolex.
Yeah.
I had a wild weekend at Limelight and I was skinned.
So you like your watches?
Oh yeah. Do you know what it is? Funny enough, that one, my parents bought me that on my 18th birthday. And it's funny because I sold it. I was in Miami a year later. I skinned and sold it.
No.
So when my mum left me a bit of watches, I cashed one in and bought this one, the same watch what I had when I was 18.
Right, got you. Yeah,
just because it's got memories for me. But I love watches. I buy and sell watches now. I flip watches. I do really well with watches. I flip watches, but I don't really wear them. If I'm going out in the evening, I won't wear them.
Right. Okay. It's like holiday, isn't it?
I mean, look at London now. I mean, they're getting ripped off. I used to I nicked enough watches in my life about fucking, and now it's fucking. I thought fucking that'd been the person who's nicked it and not getting nicked.
Yeah.
But I don't want to know. No, London's changed for me now. I still love going. I love Mayfair.
Have you got a motorbike or one of them scooter things, and you're driving around just as you drive past, you're grabbing phones out of people's hands?
I know.
It's brutal
listen,
now,
I'm very, very low key in London. If I go to London now, I tend to go to restaurants which are high up, or we get a lift to go up. It's like, especially Mayfair, it's like hunting ground.
Of course it is.
You've got the richest people in the world, haven't you? So you get all the little predators there. Waiting on the street corners, waiting for their little chance.
Yeah, that's it. Just watching and.
It's like what I say to people. Listen, it's more. If I was like the way I saw it, or I sort of, people would say about thieving. Oh, what a disgusting thing! But listen, if I woke up and I was hungry, I've got to go and get something. Yeah. I've got to go and nick something to feel fed.
Yeah.
If a lion's in the jungle, it don't say to the little baby antelope, "Oh, I'm gonna feel." Oh, you can't do that because you're not allowed to do that. It grabs it and kills it, and because it has to.
Yeah,
it's
true.
It's a cycle of life, and unfortunately, some people are stronger than others. And there's laws there, but you know yourself, the government break more laws than anyone.
Well, of course they do, yeah. There's no loyalty anywhere anymore. But I mean, we used to do it just to be able to go out and pay for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights.
Well, you wouldn't see it. You wrap it, do a few wraps of coke and sell a few wraps of salt and sell a few Aussies. I mean, you wouldn't see no harm in that. But now, you're getting a big prison sentence, and you'd always get a prison sentence then, but you'd always get a big prison sentence, but now you get your pocker. So crime doesn't pay now. No. I mean, I just had to pay a big pocker, and it wiped out most of my inheritance.
We'll get up to that in a minute, but well, have you ever been to prison?
Yeah, I first went to prison in 1993. I went to Highdown Prison.
For?
That was for theft. Theft of a Rolex, funny enough.
Theft of a Rolex?
Theft of a Rolex.
Well, not on a moped, many you were.
No, this was, giving it to sell, and then I just didn't come back with the money. And it was I got 6 months judgment. It was a short, sharp shock. I remember going into that van, and the funny thing was, it was weird, because the geezer who put me on the van was a geezer I've knocked out at school.
No, you're joking.
I remember his name. I can't remember his full name, but his name was Brian, a big old lump. And I remember he had like a horrible smirk on his face, you know, like it was like
prefect smirk.
Yeah, and I remember cuffing me up and putting me into the little cubicle.
Yeah.
And when I got to Highdown, it was in Banstead in Surrey, and it was like I got there and I thought, it was like a bad dream. The schools giving me blankets, me plastic plate and cup and that. Locked me in my cell. There was no TVs then in those days. You had to buy your own radio, and this was '93.
Yeah.
And I remember laying down the bed. I remember in the morning it was like, and you could always hear the doors, the keys opening all the doors up, and all the echo. And then went down to breakfast, like 2 slices of bread, like bread toast and a boiled egg and a bit of beans. I thought, oh fuck this. This is
Is that when it hit home?
Yeah, but then obviously I got nicked on an attempted murder. Funny enough, you probably remember this. It was at the Homesdale Road. There was a pub.
Yeah.
I was nicked with, well, I took the nicking, but they said it was me, one of the Arifs, the young Arifs, Mark Zanelli, and a guy called Johnny Haywood, who later got on 18 years with Stevie Porritt. They went to work on it with like machine gun back 10.
Yeah.
And we went in the pub. Well, they said we went in the pub. They said we went in the pub, pulled this guy out. They said I stuck a 10-inch knife in him, which narrowly missed his heart. And then someone else CS gassed the pub. It was the Lord Homesdale.
Yeah, that's what
Lord
Homesdale. Yeah, I was drinking it.
It was on the front page. It was on the front page of the news shopper. CS gas gang attack pub.
Yeah.
I got nicked for it. They said I was the knife man, so I got nicked. I spent 12 weeks on remand. I down for it. And when I was there, funny enough, I was with Perry Taroni, Henry Page, Ronnie Easterbrook. I was away with Ronnie.
Really?
Yeah, and it was so funny to see Ronnie inside after like seeing him in the spieler for years.
You feel a bit safer. I mean,
and then Brian Robinson was in there. The Colonel. And Brian went, hello Jim. He said, oh, your dad saved me life one day. And I was around and there was like proper old Sidney Carter, who's just recently died. Champagne Sid, they used to call him the best cat burglar in London.
Yeah.
And I was around all the proper boys. And like we was living life good in there. Then I thought, I don't really like prison now. I was a bit gutted to leave them. And all of a sudden one day they come and schools went, pack your kit, Tippett, all your charges have been dropped, so you're going.
Really?
But then the police were waiting outside for me. I remember his name, DC Phillips. He was like an ex-rugby copper. He had a bit of a limp, scary looking fucker.
Don't forget their name.
But scary looking fucker he was. And he went, Jimmy, he said, just to let you know, we know you've done that. He said, but we know you sent people to the hospital, blah, 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 which I never did, but obviously my friends might have done, I don't know, but I was hoping so, but no, they said, we know you've done it, he was lucky to live.
Yeah.
But obviously that was like sort of a little notch into me being a bit of a lunatic. And then I also obviously had Johnny Lister and Paul Stockton behind me if things got too wrong.
Yeah, you were safe with them too, weren't you?
But yeah, really? Sorry, so I had to blow my nose again, sorry.
Yeah.
But there was there was some amazing things, because being around Bobby, would you remember Michael Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Yeah, so you remember that murder?
Yes, I do, one of the woman underneath it,
Because what had happened is, Michael owed a friend of my dad's some money, so my dad went up to the scrapyard.
Yeah.
I went, Michael, where's this bit of money? And Michael, obviously everyone was terrified of my dad. Michael went, oh, I'll get the money. Paid him, and that's at the same time, the woman, it was his mother-in-law, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, apparently they'd got her, didn't they? They kidnapped her in the car.
Well, for the money, insurance money,
for the geezer who invented the power shower, didn't he? The dad.
Yeah.
The dad.
Oh, was it a demand?
Sorry?
Was it a demand for money?
No, what happened was, so from what you hear in the story, is I think the father-in-law approached Michael to get rid of her.
That's right, yeah.
And Michael, I always liked Michael, but Michael always had that, he was like the Grim Reaper. He could have a fight, couldn't he? But he had darkness to him. Paul Stockton even said because Paul done the black magic.
That's right.
Michael Fitzpatrick had that. He had a dark aura about him. Yeah. You wouldn't want to fuck about with Michael because he would take it that little next step further.
Yeah.
And Michael ended up paying me dad, terrified of me dad. So that's what. So the devil got his comeuppance. But no, when she got murdered, there was a lot. The body was being moved about, wasn't it? Quite a few places at the time. It was like the big news of the '90s at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But Michael then went off with Pickle, didn't he? They was doing the armed robberies.
Pickles,
He died of cancer a few years ago, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was only 49.
That's what I mean. It's no age to die, is it?
I've got a friend of mine at the moment, a boxer, Mark Potter. He's 47. He's died of cancer. Strong as an ox. But that's what I'm saying. He lived a healthy life.
Yeah.
And there's me, I'm 51, partied for 30 years.
Yeah,
done more harm to myself than I know what's good. And I'm still strong as an ox,
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, how
it's
it works,
weird,
mate? I mean, going back to the prison, sort of when you had sort of partners or girlfriends or whatever, how did that sort of
I wasn't really, do you know, back then I was seeing a girl from Bermondsey, she used to come and see me. Girls were like we weren't really, it wasn't, I didn't have a lot of relationships in the 90s, it was more girlfriends for a few nights, so it was...
you just sort of
a girlfriend,
it was
a girlfriend for the night, yeah.
When you was in prison, did you when you was in prison, did you learn a lot more about the criminal underworld?
Of course you do, because you see how people are getting caught, you see how people could have not got caught. It's a university of crime, isn't it? It's a university of crime. It's like the university for criminals. Because you're learning each of his occupations, you're taking those. I mean, I met some fraudsters in there and some business, but I've earned an awful lot of money out of people I met in jail. I met an old farmer once in jail, and he said to me, "Oh, please come and see me." He had stashed away nearly £5 million worth of gold. Wow. Which his friend had got on a robbery, but then died in France.
No.
And had a heart attack with his mistress in France. But the farmer was so straight up, he'd been nicked for something to do with his tax returns, but then told me, I've got all this gold, how do I get rid of it?
No, mate.
Fucking hell.
What dilemma to have?
So sad for say, I had a good couple of years of living after meeting the farmer. I had some great times.
That's the next question is, did you acquire any friends in this business?
Yeah, loads. Listen, obviously, I know, through my dad, I know, I'm not going to mention names, but I know all the top firms in London. I know everybody, whether we're good or bad, but I know everybody. But, and it's, in prison, I met a lot of good friends in prison, but obviously, there is no honour amongst thieves.
No.
And if they could get one over on you, it's people, you see money changes people.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And I've seen that firsthand with myself when I've come into money and bits and pieces, and it's, now I'd rather choose my friends very carefully. I have a very small bunch of friends on one hand.
Yeah, but checking out social media, we've got about 37 connected friends in our groups. Yeah, it's like...
I mean, social media's been good, but I find Instagram I like, because that fits in with my lifestyle, the glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain faces in London, there's like, their lifestyles are like out of the Viz comic. Yeah. Where I like to think my lifestyle comes out of Hello magazine. I've always got a beautiful woman in tow. I like to drink the best champagne. I like to eat the best food. And I travel to the best places. And I love the nicest clothes.
It's perfect for that, isn't it? Instagram.
Of course it is. And I think my life, but Facebook I find is a lot of fraudsters, haters, people with no lives who look down on other people's but would love to see you. Like, say if someone thought, oh, Jimmy walks in front of the road today, got hit by a bus, he's in a wheelchair, he's lost all his money, he ain't got nothing, and his girlfriend's run off with a football player. They'd love it. They'd absolutely love it. Yeah. But unfortunately, that's never going to happen. Because,
but I'm one
of those people who gets knocked down and comes back 10 times higher. But
yes, mate, I know what you mean. But have you had experienced any problems with people on social media?
Yeah, I've found a lot of haters. I mean, I would love to name them, but do you know what it is? I normally find it's the failed writers. You know, people. I got approached by John Blake to write a book.
Right.
He approached me and said, Jimmy, your dad won't write a book. My dad didn't agree with it.
Okay.
And my dad said, but he said, I would love to get your story, your book. You sound a fascinating character. And John Blake is like the hierarchy of the publishers.
Okay.
Yeah. Like he's done Roy Shaw's, Lenny McLean's, Carlton Leach. He's done anyone, Cass Pennant. He's done it. Anyone who's anyone in the like Ronnie Knight, Chopper Reed. He's done all the top people. So when he done that, I think a lot of people on social media, there was a few people sort of. Everyone wants to write a book. Everyone's got a story to tell, but not everyone wants to read that story. That story might not have any enough interesting chapters. Yeah. But a few people on Facebook, I'd love to name one of them, but I wouldn't even waste my airtime with him. I think you've done a podcast with him once. But they write books, they publish them themselves, because they can't get them published by it. Because now to write a book, you have to have a literature agent who submits that to a publisher.
That's right.
And they have a bidding war for your memoirs.
Yeah, it's harder now.
Now, I have publishers calling me all the time to write new books.
Really?
Yeah, because they know I've got a great story to tell. I have people message me on social media and say, your life, you give me inspiration. I look at your life on social media and see your beautiful girlfriend and how you live and what you get up to. And the first thing I do in the morning is put on social media to see what you're up to. And it's not that you could, and sometimes I do send people nice messages back but there is those secret haters out there who hate to see you get on. But then those haters make me appreciate. They make me work even harder, because they're the ones I really want to wipe the smile off their faces. But they couldn't even smile anyway. Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap it up there now for this is the end of part one. That was absolutely excellent, Jimmy. And we're going to go into part two, so look out for this in part two. We're going to have Jimmy back again, and we're going to go deep into the underworld, what his dad used to get up to, what Jimmy's been up to, the people that they met, the people they know, and what used to happen. So keep tuned, keep watching. See you soon.
Thank you. Cheers, boy.
Excellent, Jimmy.
God bless. Thank you.